Flosstube friends. Probably think this looks like a familiar project because my last two Stitch With Me videos have focused on William Curtis here. But I am nearing the end and I didn't want to stop working on this just to pick up a different project just for a Stitch With Me video. I figured I should stitch in these videos what I really want to be working on. So you can see here that I have completed everything on William Curtis except what's going to be in this section. There is going to be these three little motifs with the three birds over here. Now, this bird that is mirrored over here, I may not be able to stitch that in the hoop, or may only be able to stitch part of it in the hoop. That being because this sawtooth border that you see here is done all in satin stitch, and I don't want to interrupt that. I don't want to put that satin stitching under my hoop. I do think it would be fine, but I don't want to test it. I don't want to test it. So I have managed to avoid putting any of this sawtooth border, as well as this satin stitch here. I've managed to avoid putting any of that under my hoop so far, so I'm going to keep up with that. If you're wondering, this is William Curtis. This is a relatively new piece that has come out from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This is the Lord of the May. I am stitching this on 46 count Dusty Road by Seraphim. The called for is Antique Lace by Seraphim, but I'm using Dusty Road, 46 count, as I said, and I am using the called for 103s. And I don't think I introduced myself, so I should do that. My name is Audrey Marine. I know many of you know me and are frequent visitors to my channel, but for those of you who are new, I should introduce myself. I have many videos like this that are Stitch With Me videos where you don't see my face, you just see my stitching, and I just kind of talk about what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I might talk about certain specific specialty stitches or just the particular piece that I happen to have in my hoop on that day. I also have a lot of regular Flosstube videos if you are interested in those. And I should definitely introduce myself because I know that I've had a few new subscribers over the past couple weeks. So I should say welcome to those of you who are new, and thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy this. I am just going to, I've already pulled a length of thread. This is 601. This is the very bright blue that is used in this motif here, and it is going to be used over here as well. The bottom section is mirrored, as is this section here. I am trying something new today. I'm going to do this without using my Velky Pataki hoop stand. The reason being is that this hoop that I have chosen is just so small, and I just don't want to put it in my stand. I want to hold it in my hand, and we'll see how that goes. So I need to count to get to my starting spot. I need to move Mildred Sourpuss here. Oh, if you are seeing this video the morning that it is released, Saturday, I believe it is later today that Barry of Stitch Folk, from whom I got this delightful little needle minder, is releasing more project bags. So go to her Instagram for more information. I can't off the top of my head remember the time, but I do think it is in the early evening Eastern time that she will be releasing those bags. I know that she has 90 available this time, and you know, may the odds be ever in your favor, right? Because I tell you what, there have been several times that I have attempted and failed to get myself a berry bag. Now, it's no big deal because I do have several already. But you know, we want more. We want more of what we like, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I need to get to. And then I put my thread over to the right a little bit because that's where I'm going to be going. And I catch the tail as I go. I don't bother with a waist knot, and I don't use a pin stitch unless I'm going to be starting in an area that is difficult to start in this way. Like if you're just kind of starting in no man's land, you need to put one little stitch in and you won't have a nice row that will allow you to do something like this. then I may start with a pin stitch. And then you can, if you do it this way, pull the tail to the back and continue on. Yeah. Hopefully get this close for you guys and closer to my own face. Now, because I don't have it in a hoop stand, it's going to be a little more wiggly today, but I know that many of you, when you watch these videos, you don't always look at the screen. You probably just listen to me while you stitch as well. Okay, 7 is what we're aiming for, and I think I will have 7 here now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I do physically count my stitches several times over to be sure. Sometimes even, you know, you can look at a group of stitches and you can pretty well guess how many you've put down, but it's always best to, there we go. It's always best to count. Also, for any of my previous Stitch With Me videos, for this one as well, if you are interested in getting a closer view of what I'm doing, you can zoom in, probably not on your television set, but if you're watching any of these videos on your phone or tablet or laptop, you should be able to zoom in. I also had a complaint, and I will call it a complaint. It definitely was, it was rude. Saying that I talk too fast. And, you know, that is absolutely a matter of opinion. So in this person's view, I talk too fast, fine. But if you need me to slow down or speed up, you can actually do that with your own controls at home. So if you go to the settings on this video right here, at the bottom right of the video, you'll see what looks like a little gear or cog or spacely sprocket. And if you click on that, you'll see playback speed or maybe just speed, and then you'll be able to adjust that. So not just for my video, but for any other video that you're watching on YouTube, you can change the speed. So if you're looking to speed something up or slow something down, you can absolutely do that. Of course, just beware that then if there is a person talking in that video, it's gonna sound a little different. But that is available to you if you need it, as well as pinching and zooming to get a closer look at the stitching. So I'm not working on any particular specialty stitches today. This morning, I finished the sawtooth border in green, and I stitched this tree in eyelets, and I had so much fun doing it. Hopefully, there we go. Nice and focused for you. That was really fun to stitch. I really enjoy stitching eyelets. It feels like I have a little bit of a knot here. I keep catching something. Yeah, so this is, one strand has twisted around the other. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get that out so I don't have to cut this. Oh my goodness. You guys get to see this madness in real time, huh? Oh, I think I can do it. Did I do it? There we go. Okay, now I can pull it out. Okay. Sometimes I get slip knots, which are very easy to get out most of the time. But then sometimes the tail will get wrapped around the working side of the thread, and that I put in the wrong spot. I put it over 3 to the left instead of over 2. Good thing I caught that. That would have annoyed me if I had seen it later. I do have a couple mistakes in this border, but I noticed them only after I had put with that same thread many more stitches in, and I decided ultimately it wasn't gonna bother me, so I just left it. And it didn't affect anything else, like it didn't affect my counting in any other sections. So I went ahead and just let it be, especially since William here, the original stitcher, the original designer, he's got a mistake. You see these flowers, you see how they're formed, but then you look at this one, you see something different about this one than these. So I saw this in the chart and it was so jarring. I was like, oh my goodness, that is not right. And I thought, you know what? Nicola showed the antique, Nicola Parkman of Hands Across the Sea Sampler. She showed the antique of this in one of her videos. If I can find that video, I can look to see if William really did make that mistake or if it's just a charting error. I figured it was definitely not a charting error. I would have put money on it, but I figured since I knew that she had shown the antique, I could answer this for myself. And I did. I found the video, and I'm sorry I don't remember which video it was, but I did find it. And she showed the antique framed, and she kept holding it. Nicola kept holding it so that the bottom, this section of the border was just out of frame. And I was like, come on, Nicola, hold it up a little bit high. She finally did. And I was able to see that, yes, William had made this error, or maybe he did it on purpose. I don't know. Kids are weird. This was stitched by a 9-year-old boy. Who knows what was going on in his head at that time. But yeah, so I stitched his mistake as charted. I usually do. But then in the border, there are 2 mistakes of my own to add to William's. And it's no big deal, really. No big deal. Okay. Working my way up here. I've got this corner of fabric here that I wish I didn't have hanging. Maybe I should go get a needle minder and roll it up. I don't know if Mildred hair is strong enough to do that for me. Let's see. So when you have needle minders like this, I mean, she feels pretty strong. Let's see if I can get this to work. So if you have super strong needle minders, you can roll up your fabric and do something like this. Kind of depends on how much fabric, how much excess you're working with. Okay, look at that, Mildred does hold it. So that's gonna make my life a lot easier right now. Okay, so we've got the base of this tree or this plant, whatever you wanna call it, this motif. And I'm just working my way up. I cut myself a pretty long piece of this thread because not only does it provide the framework for this entire motif here, all the branches and the trunk, but it is also in a couple of the petals at the top and then the 2 birds. Now, I likely will not have enough to stitch all of that in one go. And actually the birds are a bit off to the side, so I don't know that I would want to carry this bright blue thread that far, even if I had the length. I mean, ordinarily I carry a lot of stuff. In fact, I can show you guys the back if you like. I was talking about the over 1 verse of this piece in my last Stitch With Me video, and I can show you. I'll show you all my carrying. So you can see here that I cut really long lengths of Swasserfine, and I would start one word, carry to the next, and continue as far as I could, and just carry. And so obviously I had to end my thread with this word, but then started again here and did, you know, a couple more carries. And even though the Swasserfine is a dark color, in this case it's 2656, it doesn't really show up on the front. So it's not an issue for me. Now, it would be an issue for you if you really needed a neat back, but I am not really concerned. If I can't see it through the front, then I don't care. You know, I don't want it to be overly messy. I don't want to carry just for the sake of carrying, but I also don't want to make the stitching hard and more time consuming than it is, just for the sake of having a neat back that no one again will ever see. All right, I'll make sure I'm doing this right. That's 3 there. Okay. Look at Mildred. What a grump. What a grump. I'm very excited to be nearing the end of this project. It's been very enjoyable to work on, but I'm ready to see the finished product, you know? I started this last month, about mid-April 2026, and put just a couple days into it, did a bit of the border, and then I put it down. And then I remember I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone a couple weeks later, and she was talking about how, you know, she was really excited about it, and she wasn't going to buy the chart, but then ultimately she ended up buying the chart. And I just kept thinking about that. I thought, you know, I really love that piece too. I want to get back to it. And so I picked it up at the beginning of this month, not the first of the month, but pretty close to it. And except for the days that I had to work on my Maze section of Maria Ewan for that stitch along, I have worked only on William Curtis here because it's been so fun. It's been so enjoyable. Okay, so I have reached a point where I kind of need to decide what I want to do next. I've got a couple branches going, and I want to know, yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay. So I'm going to go to the right, to the branch on the right side here, with the idea that I'll be able to come back and then get the left without having to bury threads, carry, stop and start again, all that sort of thing. So move over here. And I know everybody stitches differently. You have to create for yourself a stitch path that makes sense to you. I stitch in the Danish method. I have talked about this many, many times. I prefer it. And one reason I like it is because it allows you to go forward and backward, kind of get back to where you've already been. And if you need to just keep moving forward, you can also do that with the Danish method. But if you are stitching in the English method, completing crosses as you go, I find it's much more difficult to backtrack, or at least I think it would be. I don't do that. And then I know I'm going to have to jump down a bit here. So you can see that I moved from the top right here down to the bottom left of this stitch. This is going to be an individual stitch that helps to create this curve. And so I stitch that completely. I stitch that X completely because I'm going to move downward. And then when I come back up the opposite way, I'll end by going down here, and then it'll be easy enough for me to come back up here and continue backwards, if that makes sense. So I'm sure many of you do this as well. Okay, and that is the bottom of that branch, and it should be, yes, it's in the right spot. So I often check my stitching, not just against what I've just done, but against things farther away that I had done a while ago to make sure I'm on the right path. All right, now flip the page again, and then I'm going to come back this way. And then I need to build up another branch going upward to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, and because I'm moving upward to the right with the intention of coming back down to the left, I am actually skipping steps. So I always lay the bottom leg accent aigu from either I lay it from the bottom left to the top right, or the top right to the bottom left. It doesn't matter which way. If I come up at the top or the bottom, this is the leg I put down. I did have somebody asked me a question about that one time. They're like, why do you always start at the bottom left? I don't always start at the bottom left. Sometimes I start at the top right. It's just that the bottom leg, the leg closest to the linen, for me has to be at this orientation, if that makes sense. Okay, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but that sixth one is what we're going to build on. Is that right? Now, see, I'm talking to myself. This makes sense to me in my head, but you guys are not looking at the chart and you don't know what I'm thinking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. So from here, I go up there. This should be correct. And the way that I can check actually is this across from that? Yes, it is. Okay, doing it right. Doing it correctly. You know, in little fiddly branches like this, if they're not absolutely perfect, it's not the end of the world. But because I think it's going to be the same on the left as it is on the right, I would actually like it to be accurate. I don't think one little stitch up or down would jump out at you, but it could. Okay, I realize I've gone too far, so I'm going to backtrack a bit. All right. Oh, see, I did something wrong. I did something wrong because I am not paying close enough attention. There we go. Okay, no big deal. Just had to rip that out. Now I need to re-thread my needle. There we go. Okay. Creating sort of a sideways cross here, and I had made the lintel too high. Okay. There we go. And it is just 4 stitches across. There we go. And then I have to build 2 stitches upward, and that's it. And on this branch, there are going to be some pretty pink blossoms or berries, whatever you want to call it, in looks like 376, which is a nice mauve color that has been prevalent throughout this piece. This is a very colorful sampler. I mean, the color palette is nice. I like the variety of specialty stitches as well. That's been really fun. I've talked about this before, but this piece has cross stitch over 2, cross stitch over 1, eyelets, and satin stitch, and 4-sided stitch actually. One of the alphabets up at the top was done in 4-sided stitch, which I know is not everybody's favorite, and it is time consuming, but it looks really cool. I really like it. Okay, so you can see how now I can easily work my way down. Squeaky needle. I was thinking that I would finish this piece tomorrow, but I may be able to finish it today. I'm not quite sure. But either way, it will be done this week because you guys are seeing this. If you're seeing it the day that I publish this video, you're seeing it Saturday, but I'm actually recording it on Friday. I record these videos either Thursday or Friday before the Saturday that I'm going to release them so that I can release them Saturday morning. Yeah. So we'll see. Perhaps I will have a nicely ironed, fully finished, well, not framed, but finished William Curtis to show you guys in the AM. Who knows? All right. Now, I have actually continued and finished all of these crosses here, which may be a bit of a problem when I want to come back and continue the stem upward, but not really, because when I get back to this point right here, I'll only be a few stitches away. And if I have enough thread to continue upward, I can just flip this over and bury the thread under 1 or 2 stitches already put down. All right, and it looks like the stitching on this side is the same as it was on the right. Oh, slightly different, slightly different. That's right. Because this went straight over to kind of make an L shape, and this has that one single stitch there. That's okay. So things to pay attention to. Even though it looks symmetrical, it's not perfectly symmetrical. Part of the beauty, though, you can tell it was made by a human. Okay, and I want to check that there are 3 stitches on the left as there were on the right. Yes, 3 stitches. I'm sure I will get some questions if I don't bother to mention this. So for those of you who are wondering about my hoop, the aforementioned hoop stand, scissors, needle minders, needles, please check out my All About Needlework Tools video. I will link that below. And even if you don't want to watch that video, all of the information on the tools that I show in the video, all the things that I use in my stitching are listed in the description of that video. And as I say, for this particular piece, I'm using 46 count Dusty Road from Seraphim Linens. Someone asked about my satin stitching not too long ago. They asked it specifically about this sawtooth border, whether it was 1 pass or 2 passes. Now, I did tell her that it was 2 passes, but what I would encourage you guys to do is if you come across a chart that has satin stitching in it, as you're laying as you're making 1 pass of satin stitch on whatever it is, ask yourself, do you like the coverage? Because if you like the coverage with 1 pass, then you only need to do 1 pass. But if you're not satisfied with the coverage of 1 pass, then do 2. If you still don't like 2, you can do 3. These have 3, and this has 2. I have never done just 1 pass on any satin stitching on a project, not like I've done a ton of it, but never done 1 because to me, it's never enough. So while I appreciate, my point is that while I appreciate that she was asking for my input, and maybe she wanted to know exactly what I did in order to achieve the same look, a lot of it is just trial and error. You know, I don't even know if there is a recommendation within this booklet on how many passes to make with satin stitch. I don't know. That's something that maybe I should read so I can pass that information along to you guys. But that is also something that you can look for yourself. Basically, if you're unhappy with the result or you're unhappy with the process, you know, ask yourself what you can do differently, how you can modify it, change it. What can you do differently next time? How can you fix it now? But yes, I do 2 passes on satin stitch, except for these bits here. I felt they needed 3. And this done with the Soie 100.3, which is this spooled silk that is rather thin. I think it looks pretty good, but I do think this would look better in Soie d'Alger just because it's such a large field and the stitches are so long. So I have kind of toyed with the idea over the last few days of cutting this out and replacing it with Soie d'Alger. I can't guarantee that's what I'm going to do, but I'm sharing this with you to further illustrate my point that if you don't like something, there may be something that you can do to change it or to better it in your own eye. So I prefer 2 passes on satin stitch like this. These were special items. I've never done satin stitching in so large an area, especially that. So I got done with 2 passes and realized, you know what? It could probably do with a 3rd pass. Continuing on up this branch. Nearing the end of this piece, I'm thinking about the fact that I get to have it framed later this year, and kind of looking around at the pieces that I've already framed, wondering if any of the frames I've used so far, any of the moldings that I've used so far would work well with William. I will keep you guys updated. When my framer is back from her summer vacation and available, I will be able to pass this along to her, see what she suggests. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is right, and I can make my little sideways cross up here. I think I might end up finishing this tomorrow. I know there's not a ton of stitching left, but several color changes, and then I have a basket to do. I have one of these baskets to do on the right side as well. And this is so small, but there was actually a lot of stitching in it. So we'll see. But on my next regular Flosstube episode, I will definitely have a finished William Curtis to show you guys, which is very exciting. Hopefully I've been holding this in frame. I don't know. My apologies if I haven't. Poor Jacob. Did you guys watch his quick Quaker Sal daily videos? I did, because I just think he's nice to listen to. But in the bottom right corner, he would have his hands going on the stitching that he was doing for the day. And then on the greater part of the screen, you would see him, and he would be talking about whatever the day's topic was. And so it didn't really matter to me, but the stitching that he showed, it was often out of screen or just difficult to see what his fingers were doing. But at the end, he would always show you what he had done for the day, and he would spread it out. And that was a fun series of videos to watch. He's very nice to listen to. He has a very nice voice. I especially liked the video that he did from the gardens. Oh, I don't remember the Arboretum, and I, of course, don't remember the name of the town. I don't know that, for some reason, I think he's in Rotterdam, but I'm not sure I've got that right. Anyway, that was a very nice video. I will link that I will link that below for you guys to check out, because for some of the video he talked about what he was seeing, but for a lot of the video he just had music going, and then you would hear the sounds of the birds and the water, and oh, it was just wonderful. I played that video like 5 times. 5 times. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I want to move back to the center of this. And so instead of just jumping all the way over, I'm just gonna run my needle under. I can even just do 1 stitch like that and get to where I need to go and have that safely tucked in. But I am running out of thread. I think I'll be able to do some of this trunk, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do all of it. And then get up there to the flower petals. I think if I had cut myself just a couple more inches, I would have been able to do the entire trunk and the 2 flower petals that are done in this color that are actually connected. And wouldn't that have been nice? But that's okay. Why don't you guys, if you are so inclined, leave me a comment. Let me know what you are working on while you have this video playing. Maybe what you're looking forward to this summer. I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I had an excellent Memorial Day weekend. I was at the Indy 500 and it was friggin' awesome. And I'll talk a little bit about that probably on my next regular Flosstube episode. But yes, for now, I hope you had a great long weekend and have things to look forward to in the summer. If nothing else, hope we all have a lot of stitching to look forward to. I've got a bit of haul to share with you guys next time, as well as 2 amazingly finished animal crackers. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. If you follow me on Instagram at Stitch Stitch Bead, you will have already seen them, but I cannot wait to show those on my next Flosstube episode. So I am kind of running out of thread a little bit here. I need to figure out where I'm going and what I'm going to do with the little bit that I have left. So I will just leave this here. But I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was fun. I hope you got some stitching done. And I'll talk to you guys again next week. I probably will just have another Stitch With Me video again this coming week. What would that be? Probably Saturday the 6th, I believe it is. But hopefully the following week, I will be able to put out a regular Flosstube episode. We'll have lots to share, including a finished William Curtis. So again, thank you so much. Please feel free to leave comments and questions down below. Check the drop-down box for information on the videos that I mentioned. And you can find me on Instagram at Stitch Stitch Bead. Until next time, happy stitching.